Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush episode review. Today we will be reviewing episode 49 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, the beginning of the final battle of Season 1, and boy oh boy was this episode crazy. We had maybe the most grandiose Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel of all time, as well as a surprising-ish return. I say surprising-ish because this was a return that I fully expected, but still, it's great to see a certain character back, and the ideologies that have been at the forefront since the very beginning of the show are finally reaching its climax. Which one will come out on top? I cannot wait to see. Before we get into the video, I would like to thank today's video sponsor, and that is Whatnot. For those of you that are not familiar with Whatnot, it is an amazing site or mobile app where you can buy and sell all kinds of items, including Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards, Funkos, Magic, literally anything that you can think of. And tonight, March 14th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be auctioning off a box of Maze of Memories. Every single pack is going to be starting at $2. You guys are going to bid on them. I'll open them, and you get whatever's inside. If you don't have an account yet, use my link in the description and sign up. You'll get $15 off your first purchase at checkout, which is an awesome perk that Whatnot does. It's so cool. And if you want to buy a site shirt like this, there still are a limited quantity available, so definitely check out my store over on Whatnot. Definitely follow me on Whatnot if you do not already, and bookmark this stream. I am very excited to see you guys there. So generally speaking, what did I think of the episode? I thought it was wonderful. I really did. I thought it was one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush episodes we've gotten so far. It's very rare for me to feel like an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Flies by. Obviously, these episodes are about, 19, 20 minutes when you cut the opening and ending. And this episode probably felt like 5 minutes because the first half was all about Yudias and Zwijo debating in front of all of Velgears as to which ideology was better. And then, of course, in the second half, you had the duel begin, and both were done masterfully well. Since the very beginning of this show, it has always been Zwijo's ideology versus Yudias's ideology. And Zwijo, of course, wants to end the war with brute force using rush duels. Yudias wants to end the war peacefully using rush duels. And while Zwijo's proposal makes a lot more sense because you kind of understand how it will work, Yudias's proposal is still clouded in that question of, well, how are you going to end the war peacefully with rush duels? And Zwijo brings that question to the forefront in front of everyone in Velgears, which I thought was a fantastic sequence. It was almost like a political debate, and you had two candidates, and one candidate asked a trap question to the other candidate. And Zwijo, you could tell, has been gearing up for probably a very long time to ask Yudias this question in front of everyone to see what his answer would be. And that question is simply, how do you think we're going to end the war peacefully with rush duels? And Yudias doesn't give an answer right away, and you see Zwijo and his subordinates all smiling because they think they've trapped him. They think they asked him an impossibly hard question to answer, where in theory, it's always great to end a conflict peacefully, but Zwijo and his subordinates clearly do not think that's possible, and they don't believe that Yudias has a good enough explanation on the logistics of how it's possible. And Yudias does not give an answer. Instead, he calls for Valvagear, the ship. It turns into a giant dual disc, and I guess his answer to that question is going to be shown off in this duel for all of Velgear to watch. And so it's fitting that two of the most polarizing characters from Velgears are having one of the most over-the-top duels we have ever seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! Both of these characters' spaceships turn into giant dual discs that need the monsters to be piloted, and the monsters of Zwijo are piloted by generic soldiers, which makes sense. The monsters that are being played by Yudias are piloted by the characters that we have met and been along the journey with since the start of the show, which was an awesome little twist there, where Yudias has the monsters, the aces of all of these characters. Chupataro, Neanderstar, Mitsuko. The Mitsuko scene of her getting into the the mecha or the ship was hilarious because she was obviously too tall for the pod. But she, without hesitation, angry at Zwijo, angry for what Zwijo has done, and is completely fighting against him at this point, which I thought that was really fascinating. We also learned that because the gavel charger is what makes all of this possible, from the Yudias' ship perspective, if the monster is destroyed, the pilot feels pain and damage in real life. And we see this bring Mitsuko, Chupataro, and Neanderstar into some distressful moments. And Kawhi Tell has one of the best lines of this whole episode. He just goes, "The battle has hardly begun." And it has. I mean, the vibes are immaculate when Yudias is taking his turn, when the guy is taking his turn, because it's great. Everyone's getting reunited. Everyone's realizing that everyone else is okay. They're all fighting alongside. And then the moment Zwijo takes his turn and plays Dark Hole, the vibe of the episode changes completely for the remainder of the episode. We see Zwijo summon this eldritch, horror-looking monster, a monster that you'd fight in Bloodborne, as his new ace, and it is absolutely sick, and it has an effect where it's also able to field wipe. And so there's 2 board wipes that Zwijo performs before he even gets to his battle phase, which is crazy. And both times, Neanderstar, Chupataro, and Mitsuko take the brunt of the destruction. And it'll be interesting, for me at least, to see if they start getting really worn down and start getting physically affected in the later episodes and stages of this duel, because that was definitely implied by Kawhi Tell. But the big aspect of this duel, of course, is the fact that it is not just Yudias dueling Zwijo with everything that Velgear is about to fight for on the line, which ideology they're going to fight, and who is going to come out as the leader of the next stages of this war and of this battle. Because you imagine if Yudias wins, he'll be the leader. If Zwijo wins, he'll be the leader, and they'll be leading their own ideologies into the next phase of the battle. The other duel that's going on, which we had no idea that was going to happen, is Yugioh has returned with the Lug, and his spaceship has turned into a giant dual disc as well, versus the Earth Damar, who is inadvertently holding Yuhi and Yuumu hostage. So Yugioh is dueling potentially like his great ancestors, at least their deck, because that is the deck that the Earth Damar Dumamu is dueling. And Yugioh is taking on Dumamu right next to the Zwijo and Yudias duel, and Yugioh saved and rescued, and the Lug saved and rescued Manabu and Rovian. That is something that I was hoping we would see. It's something that I predicted on the podcast right when they disappeared, because I felt it would have been so symbolic if on that ship you had Yugioh, Gakuto, Roman, and Luke kind of all reunited. Now, of course, with Gakuto, Roman, and Luke, it's their variants, it's their counterparts, but we have the original 4, the main 4 of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, in a way, reunited during this duel, which was really heartwarming and awesome to see. And the 3 of them, Rovian, Manabu, and the Lug, are all piloting the monsters for Yugioh. So, symbolically, if you've watched 7s, that is such a freaking cool moment. And the fact that Yugioh is back and dueling alongside Yudias, but not technically because it's 2 different duels, is something that I did not think we'd get. Now, I believed Yugioh would return. I'd been saying that for a while. I did not think he would be dueling, and I did not think he would be returning this quickly and this importantly. So that's an angle that I did not see coming. Also, it was kind of weird to me that Gohei Yuna had such an emotional reaction when she learned that Yugioh was okay. It makes me think that there might be a deeper connection between Yugioh and Yuna. Now, we know that the 2 of them kind of created the fusion card together. They've worked a little bit off screen. But I don't know. Gohei Yuna, I feel like, got really emotional and teary-eyed when she learned that Yugioh was okay. And it just didn't... It doesn't fit her personality all that much if it doesn't have to do with Rovian. So clearly Yugioh is someone that she cares about a lot. And I wonder if there is a deeper connection between the 2. Remember, Gohei Yuna had Seven's Road Magician, had some Yugioh cards. I wonder if Yugioh has really opened up to Gohei Yuna off screen, and she knows a lot about his situation and his importance. So I thought that was interesting, and that's something that I'm definitely fascinated to keep an eye on as the show progresses and as this duel progresses. And of course, the last thing I want to touch on, this duel reminds me so much of the final duel of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, when Yugioh and all of his friends were piloting the Rush Duel robot, and Otis and the Co-Girls were piloting the Otis robot. They were dueling in space. I've said that Go Rush has mimicked 7s in a lot of ways. I think there's a very deep connection there. I think there's some sort of connection between Zwijo and Otis. Remember, Zwijo came out of the Otis relic earlier in this arc, and now you have a situation where these characters are giving their aces to Yudias, and they're piloting his monsters, similarly to how the 7s characters gave their aces to Yugioh, and they were helping to pilot the Rush Duel robot against the final threat. They're all facing off against Zwijo here. They all have a similar goal to defeat Zwijo, their own reasons as to why they want to defeat Zwijo. And I don't know. I'm not saying Zwijo and Otis are the same character, but it really wouldn't surprise me at this point. I just feel like there's got to be a connection there. There has to be. Maybe Zwijo and Otis are working together. Maybe they have some sort of connection where they don't have to be the same character. I know people are, sick of Otis. Honestly, I am fascinated because I would like to see Otis brought into this, even if it's brief, because you have to imagine he's here. You have to imagine he traveled in the same hyperspace as Yugioh. And I don't know. I just feel like by the end of this duel, we will have a lot more answers as to what the tie-in is between Zwijo and Otis. But this duel mimics that duel so much. And honestly, this episode flew by. It was a phenomenal episode, and I can't wait for the next two parts of these duels. But guys, those are my thoughts on episode 49 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. Please let me know your thoughts on all things Go Rush, predictions you have, and any thoughts on this episode down below in the comments. Don't forget to check out my Whatnot stream later tonight. Use my link in the description for $15 in free site credit. Thank you guys so much for watching. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patron, Panther J, to my Diamond tier patrons, Latrell Smith and Jesse Woods, and to my Egyptian God tier patron, Pink Penguin. Thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon and whoever is a YouTube channel member. You guys help me out so much. And if you want some exclusive channel perks, definitely check out both of those sites and features. Be sure to check out my channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime content. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.